Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I formally declare open this Planning Committee meeting of the Colac Otway Shire Council on the 8th of April 2025. The opening prayer. Almighty God, we seek your blessing and guidance in our deliberations on behalf of the people of the Colac Otway Shire. Enable this Council's decisions to be those that contribute to the true welfare and betterment of our community. Amen. I'd like to start this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional custodians and lawmakers of this land, their elders past and present, and welcome any descendants here today. Please be advised that this Planning Committee meeting is recorded and live streamed with the exception of confidential matters. This includes the public participation sections of meetings. The live stream recording of this afternoon's meeting will be available on the website as soon as practicable. By participating in open planning committee meetings, individuals consent to the use and disclosure of the information they share at the meeting, including any personal and/or sensitive information. I note that Councillor Chrissy Dedu is an apology today, and all other councillors are present. We also have the apology of the Chief Executive Officer, Anne Howard. I'll move on to the confirmation of minutes. I propose that we move to confirm the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 11th of February 2025. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hudgell. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McCrickard. We'll now put that to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm. Carried 6-0. Thank you. I'll move on to item 3.4, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest today's meeting? No. We'll move on to the first item on today's meeting, item 4.1, 185 Dunlops Road, Birregurra, planning permit 28-2025. The purpose of this report is to provide Council with an application for the use and development of a replacement dwelling and other associated works at 185 Dunlops Road, Birregurra. Are there any questions of officers? Councillor Potter.
Happy to move the recommendation as a motion when you're ready, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions? No. We have an officer recommendation in the report. It's moved by Councillor Potter. Is it to be seconded? Councillor Hudgell. Councillor Potter is a mover.
Thanks, Mayor. My motion is based on recommendation by officers that this application be supported. Thank the officers for their work in putting a detailed report in front of us.
Thank you. Councillor Hudgell, no. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Potter, oh no, sorry, Councillor Buchanan.
Just looking at the different applications for replacement houses in our shire today, it would be nice to see that at some stage in the future that council could probably promote a little more vigorously the use of some of these homes if they are still of a habitable condition to make use of, rather than just be replaced.
Thank you. Councillor Potter, right a reply? No, we have the motion before us now put to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm. Carried 6-0. Thank you, councillors. Now move on to item 4.2, 185 Wickham's Road, Maroon. Construction of dwelling, vegetation removal and associated works. The purpose of this report is to provide council with an application for the construction of a replacement dwelling, vegetation removal and associated works at 185 Wickham's Road, Maroon. Any questions of officers? No? There's an officer recommendation in the report. We'll have a mover for that. Councillor Potter. Is there a seconder? Councillor McCrickard. Councillor Potter.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll move the officer's recommendation, another recommendation to approve a permit.
Thank you. Councillor McCrickard is the seconder. Any other councillor? No? Right reply? No. We have the motion before us. Councillors will now put to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm. It's carried 6-0. Thank you. We move on to item 4.3. 6150 Great Ocean Road, Apollo Bay. Use and development of a dwelling, including outbuilding associated works, including retaining walls and creation of access to a road in Transport Zone 2. Do you have any questions of officers? No? There's an officer recommendation in the report, councillors. Does anyone wish to move that? Councillor Potter.
I'm on a roll, Mayor, so might as well stick with it.
Okay. Seconder for the motion, Councillor Hudgell. Councillor Potter.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm pleased to move the recommendations of the motion to authorise a permit.
Councillor Hudgell, no. Any other councillor wish to speak? No, no right or reply. Thank you. We have a recommendation before us and now put it to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm's carried 6-0. We now move on to item 4.4. 600 Carlisle Road, Irrawulipi East, construction of a replacement dwelling. And that's the purpose of this item on the agenda. Any questions of officers? Councillor McCrickard.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question, and look, this might be an obvious one and you may have answered it a number of times already. Why do we go to this detail if it's a replacement dwelling?
Through you, Mayor, there's still a requirement for a planning permit and an assessment against all relevant clauses of the planning scheme and planning provisions. It's not necessarily the case that every replacement dwelling would be acceptable depending on the permit triggers. Obviously, we're required to do a detailed assessment and you do require all the conditions and the reasoning behind that. There are referrals required, etc. We do have to obviously provide in the report for your assessment a detailed description of the site so you understand it as well. This is a level of detail I think appropriate for you to be able to make a sound decision.
Thank you, and thanks for all your work as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, we have an officer recommendation in the report, councillors. Does anyone wish to move it? Councillor Hudgell, or Councillor Potter? Is it to be seconded? Councillor Hudgell. Councillor Potter.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm pleased to support the recommendation. That's my motion.
Councillor Hudgell. Any other councillor wish to say? Oh, no, Councillor
I would
Hudgell.
also like to echo what Councillor Potter said, and I would like to support.
Thank you. Any other councillor? Councillor Potter, right or reply? We have the motion before us. Councillors will now put it to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm's carried 6-0. Thank you. Now move on to item 4.5. 5650 Great Ocean Road, Wangara. Use and development of a dwelling including associated works and vegetation removal. The purpose of this report is to provide council with an application for the use and development of a dwelling including associated works and vegetation removal at 5650 Great Ocean Road, Wangara. Any questions of officers, councillors? No. Just on the, you've recommended to refuse this application in the report. On how do you assess the significant landscape overlay as officers in this report?
Through you, Mayor, as excuse me. Through you, Mayor, as you'll be aware, the planning scheme has a parent clause for the assessment of applications within a significant landscape overlay, and there are also schedules within the planning scheme to the significant landscape overlay. That actually provides a description of the things to be protected and the things to be taken into account when making the assessment. As part of the assessment we make, we obviously have regards to the parent clause and the relevant schedule or schedules that apply to the land. We also have regard to the actual siting of the land itself. So on any application that we make a recommendation, we carry out a site visit. We view the site from not only within the site, but from any public vantage points that we can get of it. We look at visual impact assessments that are provided as part of the application. So there is direct guidance on how the matter should be assessed, and based on that and the site visit, we make a recommendation.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Does any councillor wish to move a recommendation? Councillor Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move an alternative motion. Would you like me to read it out?
Yes, if you could read it out for us, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope people have the patience, and if I stumble on words, you'll get the meaning of them. So my alternative motion is that the Planning Committee resolves to grant a permit for the use and development of land for a dwelling and associated works, removal of native vegetation and creation of access to a road in Transport Zone 2 at 5650 Gradation Road, Wangara, Lot 2, PS 735692, V-F 11822/407, Parish of Cranbrook. Hope I got that right. Subject to the following conditions. 1. Endorsed plans. The use and development shown on the endorsed plans must not be altered without the written consent of the responsible authority. Number 2, the removal of vegetation must be in accordance with the endorsed plan to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. 3, compliance with the geotechnical assessment. The approved development must be carried out on the site in accordance with the recommendations of the geotechnical assessment prepared by AGR Geosciences Proprietary Limited, reference number 23C938 LRA small b2, dated 20th of 9th, 2023, and revised on the 3rd of the 10th, 2023, or any geotechnical practitioner engaged to review the assessments submitted with the application. Number 4, materials. All material finishes on the dwelling hereby permitted must be in non-reflective muted tones to blend in with the surrounding landscape to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 5, construction management plan. Prior to the commencement of any works relating to the development, unless otherwise approved in writing by the responsible authority, a construction management plan must be submitted to and approved by the responsible authority. The plan must describe the erosion and sediment control techniques that will be used and detail how the site will be managed prior to and during the construction period, including requirements for managing runoff, dust, construction waste and litter. No polluted and or sediment-laden runoff is to be discharged directly or indirectly into Colac Otway Shire drains and or watercourses at any time during construction or operation to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 6, all works must be undertaken in accordance with the approved construction plan. The developer must ensure that all contractors are aware of the requirements of the approved construction management plan and understand how to implement them. Number 7, access. Prior to the commencement of use hereby permitted, the driveway must be constructed to an all-weather standard and with a minimum width of 3.5 metres to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 8, stormwater. all runoff from stormwater, including overflow from water storage, must be taken to a legal point of discharge to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 9, the site must be developed and managed to ensure there is no stormwater pollution through the contamination of runoff by chemicals, sediments, waste or pollutants in accordance with best practice environment management guidelines for stormwater management and construction techniques for sediment pollution control, that's an EPA, at any time during construction or operation to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 10, wastewater. A domestic wastewater management system must be constructed concurrently with the dwelling hereby permitted so that all wastewater is at all times contained within the cartilage of the site, curtilage or whatever. The design and installation of any wastewater disposal system for any building on the land must comply with EPA guidelines for on-site wastewater management, May 2024, as amended, and the EPA effluent dispersal and recycling systems guidance, May 2024, as amended, to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Or number 11, all works and development associated with the permit must be carried in accordance with the land capability assessment produced by AGR Geosciences Pty Limited, reference number 23C0941 LCA, dated 14th to 6/23, unless otherwise agreed in writing by the responsible authority. Number 12, protection of vegetation. Before the vegetation removal starts, the boundaries of all vegetation to be removed and retained must be clearly marked on the ground with tape or temporary fencing to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 13, vegetation removal and disposal must not cause damage to vegetation stands to be retained to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. To prevent damage to the remaining vegetation, there must be no temporary or permanent storage of any materials, vehicles or equipment within areas of vegetation identified to be retained in accordance with the endorsed plan. All storage sites must be restricted to existing cleared areas and must not adversely impact upon native vegetation, including the root zones of existing trees. Such sites must not be located on or near erodible surfaces, surface water runoff areas or areas infested with weeds. Number 14, landscaping. Prior to the commencement of development, a landscape plan to the satisfaction of the responsible authority must be submitted to and approved by the responsible authority. When approved, the plan will be endorsed and then will form part of the permit. The plan, which must be drawn to scale with dimensions, must be generally in accordance with the submitted landscape plan prepared by Alex English Architect, reference TPO 02 revised 04 dated 23rd of the 8th 24, except that plan must show a survey including botanical names of all existing vegetation to be retained or removed, B, details of surface finishes of pathways and driveways, C, a planting schedule of all proposed trees, shrubs and ground covers including botanical names, common names, sizes of planting and maturity and quantities of each plant. D, landscaping to mitigate the visual impact of the dwelling, including planting within Zone 5 on the submitted landscape plan prepared by Alex English Architect, reference TBO2, revised 04, dated 23rd of the 8th, 24. Plants required for screening and development must be advanced specimens to aid with screening. All species must be selected to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 15, prior to the initial occupation of the dwelling hereby permitted or by such a later date as improved by the responsible authority in writing, the landscaping works shown on the endorsed plans must be completed to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. The landscaping must thereafter be maintained to the satisfaction of the responsible authority, including that any dead, diseased or damaged plants are to be replaced. Number 16, land management plan. Big one. Prior to the commencement of the development, a land management plan to the satisfaction of the responsible authority must be submitted to and approved by the responsible authority. When approved, the land management plan will be endorsed and then will form part of the permit. The land management plan must contain A, be prepared by a suitably qualified person, B, be submitted in electronic form, C, must include but not limited to 1, site plan scale and dimensions, 2, site description, 3, a description of native plant and animals on site in the area, 4, a description of the site outside the native vegetation areas, 5, overall environmental objectives for management of the land and techniques to achieve these objectives. 6, techniques to protect and enhance the biodiversity of the land, including the retention of vegetation, fauna habitat, and the need to revegetate land, including riparian buffers along waterways, gullies, ridge lines, property boundaries, and saline discharge and recharge areas. 7, methods for the control and eradication of weeds. 8, methods for the control of pest animals. Number 9, the use of fencing which is permeable for native fauna. Number 10, revegetation of the site using native and indigenous species. What about 11, improving the condition of waterways, frontage and with vegetation. 12, preventing stock access to waterways and areas of native vegetation. 13, preventing soil erosion. 14, bushfire management. 15, identification of land management issues. And 16, goal setting and specification of actions in implementation and monitoring of the identified actions. The management of the land and activities on the site must be conducted in accordance with the endorsed plan at all times to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Number 17, an annual report against the requirements of the endorsed land management plan must be prepared and submitted to the responsible authority for the first 5 years following completion of the dwelling hereby permitted, and thereafter at a reasonable request of the responsible authority. Reports are to be submitted prior to the anniversary date of the endorsement of the land management plan. The following must be included: permit holder, planning permit number, reporting year 1 to 5, date report it is submitted, who completed the report, condition of the site against each management commitment, actions taken during the year to achieve the management commitment, photographs which clearly depict management actions undertaken for the previous year. Number 18, Section 173 agreement. Prior to the commencement of any works, the owner must enter into an agreement under Section 173 of the Planning Environment Act 1987 with the responsible authority. The agreement must be in a form to the satisfaction of the responsible authority, and the applicant must be responsible for the expense of the preparation and registration of the agreement, including the responsible authority's reasonable costs and expenses, including legal expenses incidental to the preparation, registration and enforcement of the agreement. The agreement must contain covenants to be registered on the title of the property so as to run with the land, and must provide for the following. A, the land must be managed in accordance with the land management plan endorsed as part of the planning permit PP 56/2024-1, or in accordance with any amendment to that plan or other replacement land management plan subsequently endorsed as part of a planning permit to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. The agreement will be registered on title in accordance with Section 181 of the Planning Environment Act 1987. Number 19, native vegetation removal offset. 19.2, offset the removal of 0.031 hectares of native vegetation. The permit holder must secure a native vegetation offset in accordance with the guidelines for removal, destruction of lopping of native vegetation, DWALP 2017 as specified below. A general offset of 0.0007 general habitat units located within the Kuranga Mite Catchment Management Authority boundary or Colac Otway Shire Municipal District with a minimum strategic biodiversity score of at least 0.3668. 20, before any native vegetation is removed, evidence that the required offset for the projects has been secured must be provided to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. This evidence is one or both of the following: an established first-party offset site including a security agreement signed by both parties and a management plan detailing the 10-year management actions and ongoing management of the site, and or credit extracts allocated to the permit from the Native Vegetation Credit Register. A copy of the offset evidence will be endorsed by the responsible authority and form part of this permit. Number 21, in the event that a security agreement is entered into as part of condition 20, the applicant must provide the annual offset report to the responsible authority by the anniversary date of the execution of the offset security agreement for a period of 10 consecutive years. After the 10th year, the landowner must provide a report at the reasonable request of a statutory authority. Excuse me. Number 22, Department of Transport and Planning conditions. Before the works start, the existing access to the Great Ocean Road must be constructed generally in accordance with the design of a typical driveway access to rural properties See attached drawing GD 4010 and must kept maintained in a proper state with no compromise to the operational road safety, transport efficiency or public safety, e.g. by spilling gravel or mud onto the roadway, or to the satisfaction of and at no cost to the head Transport for Victoria. Note, this must involve A, treating the surface with all weather, seal and durable surface to the property boundary. B, suitable culvert to address the drainage issue. C, the location of any proposed private access gates to be located a minimum 15 metres from the edge of the road and traffic on Great Ocean Road to allow for design vehicle to stop clear of traffic. CFA conditions 23, the bushfire protection measures forming part of this permit or shown on the endorsed plans, including those relating to construction standards, defendable spaces, water supply and access must be maintained to the satisfaction of the responsible authority on a continuing basis. The condition contains to have force and effect after the development authorised by this permit has been completed. 24, before the development starts, the bush Management Plan, Appendix 2, BMP, Final Version 2, 13th of February 2024, on page 30 of the Bush Management Statement, 5650 Great Ocean Road, Wangara, Victoria, prepared by Beacon Ecological, must be endorsed by the responsible authority. Once endorsed, the plan must not be altered unless agreed to in writing by CFA and the responsible authority. Expiry 25. This permit will expire if one of the following circumstances apply. The development and vegetation removal are not commenced within 3 years of the date of the permit. B, the development and vegetation removal has not been completed and the use has not commenced within 5 years of the date of this permit. In accordance with Section 69 of the Planning Environment Act 1987, an application must be made to the responsible authority to extend the periods referred to in this conditions. Notes. Note 1, the permit does not authorise the commencement of any building works prior to the commencement of development. It will also be necessary to obtain a building permit for the proposed dwelling. 2, prior to the preparing drainage plans, a legal point of discharge, LPOD, must be obtained in accordance with the Building Regulations 133. A copy of the LPOD, which incurs a fee in accordance with the building regulations, must be submitted with the engineering plans. 3, and final, a separate application to install a domestic wastewater management system must be submitted to and approved by Council's Health Protection Unit prior to the commencement of works. The Health Protection Unit reserves the right to request that the land capability assessment be amended or updated by a suitable qualified person and submitted for approval to support a detailed system design and proposed site plan at the wastewater permit application stage. The end.
Thanks, Phil. You just didn't speak into your microphone. Can you just say it again? Just joking.
I'll reserve that comment for later.
All right, we have an alternative motion before us. Is to be seconded. Councillor.
I'd like to support Councillor Howard's amendment.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Buchanan. Councillor Howard as the mover.
Yes, look, I'd just again like to thank the officers for a detailed assessment, but also arranging a site visit to the property. I think as a councillor, our due diligence was to go and do a site visit, and we asked a lot of questions of planners and of the applicant, the detailed reports, and I felt at that stage I was comfortable with the site and I understand the overlay that exists there, but everything's based on its merit, and as a councillor I'm quite comfortable that this has limited impact and will be quite an asset to the Shire, and there's no objections to the application, so I'm comfortable with my alternative motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Buchanan as the seconder.
I'd just like to congratulate firstly the applicants on their diligence for keeping on pushing through with this application to get their home down there. It's taken quite some time. But I can also understand the position that the council officers had to be in to protect the amenity of that particular part of the world. I mean, the Great Ocean Road is undoubtedly the greatest war memorial ever built, and it was built by the soldiers that fought in that war. So there is good reason to look after that part of the world for future people. As Phil said, there was nothing in that application that bothered me, the citing of it. And I think because of the reasons I've just suggested, the officers did have to take due care in making a decision. But I'm happy with the applicant's proposal as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor? Councillor Potter.
Thanks, Mayor. Just to follow on some of the things Councillor Buchanan says, I'd just like to recognise the work and the position the officers are in applying their knowledge to a recommendation to refuse based on the overlay and the importance to preserve the vista of the rolling hills of the Otways, not just from the road but from the ocean and the air. However, on this occasion, we are obliged to take the matters that we have in front of us and judge each application on its merits. I will be supporting Councillor Howard's motion.
Thank you. Any other councillor? No, I'd just like to say that myself would like to support Councillor Howard's motion. I think the officers have done the job required of them to come up with their recommendation. I'd like to note there were no objections. There were actually letters of support, which we don't see that often in planning. But I think, and as Councillor Howard just took 20 minutes to read out, you see the amount of conditions that go onto some people, and that's not council requirements, it's statutory requirements of the government. And I think it does get out of control at times how the government imposes things on people's personal land. They just want to build a house, and we do have to make sure it's done properly. I think that they tick all the boxes with this alternative motion, but it's just unbelievable sometimes what the government's put on councils to have to try and enforce, and it's very hard to navigate through planning. I think when governments, as you've seen recently, try and do their own planning, they throw the rule book out and do whatever they like. But I think this recommendation is good, and therefore I also support it. Thanks. Any other councillor? Right or reply? Councillor Howard? No, we have the alternative motion before us. We'll now put to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor McCrickard, Councillor Howard, Councillor Shams, carried 6-0. Thank you, councillors. That concludes this planning meeting of the Colac Otway Shire. I declare this meeting closed, 1:33 p.m.